I usually prefer to stay away from all of these online whiskey challenges where you will nominate each other. But this one really interested me, so I thought I'd give it a go. Welcome back, Dram Fam, to the Whisky Diary. So I have been nominated to do the Whiskey 5 challenge, the Reddit Whiskey 5 challenge. I'm not entirely sure exactly what the name of it is. But fundamentally, you nominate 5 whiskies which fit certain criteria. Now, I was originally actually nominated by Toby from Whiskey Shared, but unfortunately I got ill and I didn't. I ended up not recording anything for weeks. But again, I was recently nominated by Wade from McIntyre's Malt. So thank you to both of you for that. The concept is simple. You have to name 5 whiskies that fit the following criteria. We are looking for a daily drinker, impress your guests, a mixer, a Friday night pour, and a special occasion whiskey. Now, firstly, this was really difficult. A lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. My tastes tend to change, but they don't really change per se. It's more that at different times I fancy different things. The weather is getting colder, the nights are getting longer, it is getting darker earlier, and I generally tend to find myself, historically, found myself leaning more toward peaty whiskey. But for some reason, this year, I'm still well into my space sides. So while this is relevant today, I'm not sure how long it will be relevant for, but I'm sure we can just do it again in 6 months or so. But anyway, let's get going. First up is the daily drinker. Now, I probably wouldn't recommend drinking every day, but the way that I interpret this is an easy drinking. This is an easy go-to whiskey that you'd have no issues picking up whenever. Maybe this could be the dram that you drink while you're looking for a dram to drink, which I often do. I often might find myself looking at the shelf and I'm not sure what I want to sit down and sesh, but I might grab something, pour a little bit in my glass, and I can sit there and enjoy that while I'm looking. And in this instance, that whiskey is the Classic Laddie from Bruichladdich. Now, I recently featured this in my 5 supermarket whiskies, so I'm not going to get too deep into this one, but fundamentally, this is a no age statement Islay from the Bruichladdich distillery. It is completely unpeated, unchill filtered, natural colour, bottled up at 50% ABV, and you can pick this up for somewhere around the £40 mark. Why have I picked this as my daily drinker? Because it's easy to get and it's easy to drink. It's lovely stuff. It's got a bright citrusy kind of salty lemony thing going on, really nice vanilla up front, then kind of turns into toffee, and then you get all that kind of light saltiness on the back end. It is a super easy drinker, and I'd kind of forgotten about it until I shot that video, when since then I've not really put it down. I'm finding it very difficult to put down. It is a delicious whiskey, super easy to get, and this would be my daily drinker. So next we have impress your guests. Now, the way that I kind of interpreted this one is, this is maybe not something for, like, you and your whiskey pals to sit around and drink. This is kind of more geared towards, maybe you've got a dinner guest over. This might be to impress someone that maybe isn't into their whiskey, and you're looking to show off a little bit, got some nice talking points, something that you can really kind of demonstrate your whiskey knowledge and how much you love this stuff. And for that, I chose this. Now, I am an SMWS member. I pay for my membership and stuff. This is not an ad or anything. I don't really talk about SMWS all that much, I don't think, considering how much I love their whiskies and how much I drink them. So this particular bottling, it's is 6381. Bottle code 63 is, of course, the Glen Tockers distillery, a Speyside distillery. This is a 9-year-old, bottled at a cheek-clenching 66.3% ABV. It is all natural colour, it is unchill filtered, it is a single cask, as is all SMWS bottles. And what's really cool about this is a full maturation It is a full maturation ex Oloroso sherry butt. Originally aged, like the initial aging was done in a refill, and then it was finished in a first fill. And it really does pop on the palate. So much so, that's what I'm drinking now. So why did I choose this for my Impress Your Guests? Well, for those that maybe aren't that well versed in the ways of SMWS, I think it would be quite easy to show off talking about your private whiskey members only club where you can only buy their bottles and you cannot buy these anywhere else in the world. I think that sounds pretty impressive. For those that do know, you can talk about the fact that they're all single cask. You know, they've got all of the numbers we like to see, and especially this one bottled up at 66.3%, which is just absolutely insane. But after you've won them over with all of your private members, Whiskey Society talk, you then get to the liquid. The colour is excellent. It's wonderfully dark, especially for a 9-year-old. The nose is sickly sweet. It's like, I mean, in a good way, but it is disgustingly sweet. It's so rich. There is almost a smokiness there. This is a completely unpeated whiskey, but it's like there is almost smoke in it. It is so beautifully matured. It's got these kind of like well done toast kind of notes, like almost borderline burnt toast. Palate wise, the palate absolutely explodes with flavour. A little hot at 66.3. You can knock it down with just a touch of water. It's like poached apples, burnt orange, brown sugar. Then you start getting all these like plum notes, black cherry, cocoa, almost like Black Forest Gatto kind of vibes going on. The tail end, it's tobacco and raisins and honey. It's such an incredibly rich, big, bold whiskey. You could say it's an assault on the senses. If you were to give this to someone that drinks whiskey, I think they'd probably be quite taken aback by quite how big this is. And for someone that doesn't drink whiskey, a touch of water in this, along with the story behind the bottle, I think personally that might impress your guests. So I'm going to keep drinking this throughout the rest of the episode. So next we are on to a mixer. I guess that pretty much translates to something that you would mix with. Now, I'm not much of a whiskey mixer person. I tend generally to drink my whiskies neat, but I am quite partial to an old fashioned with some American whiskey. And for this, we have the Rittenhouse Rye, bottled in bond, 100 proof. Now, I don't know a huge amount about American whiskey, but the stats on this are. So this is a 4-year-old American rye whiskey. It is bottled in bond, which I kind of guess is similar to the whole SWA single malt thing. It means it's got to be a minimum of 4 years old. It can only be made by one distillery during one season, and it has to be bottled at a minimum of 50% or 100 proof. Now, to just go at this neat, it's pretty nice. It's got some really nice toasted cereal notes, almost like kind of shreddies, if anyone's ever eaten shreddies here. It's got a beautiful kind of caramel and chocolate notes on the nose. The palate is really like dry and spicy. A little bit too dry and spicy for me, like on the palate. But the finish has got like a really nice kind of sweet honey, almost cola cube-esque finish. But I like to make this, as I say, as an old-fashioned. Now I'm going to channel my inner Greg from How to Drink, and I'm going to make you an old-fashioned, hopefully, if I can get away with it, in the style of the How to Drink B-roll, which is absolutely exceptional. For those that haven't seen How to Drink, I'll drop a link down in the description. But for my perfect old-fashioned, start with the biggest ice cube that will fit in your glass. I prefer to go for the 2 types of Angostura. I start with the regular bitters, and then I go for a slightly smaller dash of the cocoa bitters, which kind of offset the dryness of the rye. To help with that, I also like to go for the maraschino cherry juice instead of sugar. It brings a little bit of fruitiness in there as well. As for the rye, 2 good measures. I do prefer it a little bit strong. I like the rye to sit forward. A big peel of orange. Try and get a shot of the flame across the top of the glass. give it a mix, and that there is my perfect old-fashioned. So in summary, it is delicious, it's sophisticated, and I think in this particular old-fashioned, the way that I like it, it really lets the whiskey sing, but it kind of takes that dry, spicy edge off for me and just adds a little bit more sweetness so that I can drink it, and I really do quite enjoy it. Next, we have the Friday night pour. I interpret this as something that you find incredibly delicious. It's not the most special stuff, but it's good enough that you will use this as kind of your treat, something to sit down and really enjoy on a Friday night, as it is right now. So this particular whiskey that I've chosen is very new to me indeed. In fact, only had it a few days. This is the Glenmorangie Warehouse 1 Oloroso Fully Matured. This, of course, is a Speyside whiskey. It is bottled at exactly 60% ABV on the nose. It is unchill filtered. It is all natural colour. It's not quite a single cask. It is from 4 casks, 1,950 bottles. And, as the name suggests, it is fully matured in Oloroso casks. This is stunning liquid. I joke that it's kind of like the diluting juice of whiskey. It is so full on, so fully flavoured and almost sickly, but it is absolutely stunning. You really have to sit down and work with it. I like to think of Glenmorangie as a bit of a kind of a blank slate spirit. That's not to say the spirit's bad at all. I love Glenmorangie, but I tend to find it really takes on the flavours of a cask exceptionally well. It really lets the cask sing. You really get to taste what that cask tastes like, which I think is something very, very important in a whiskey. The nose is nutty raisins. It's Christmassy as balls. The palate, dried fruits. It's got a bit of a sulphurous diacetyl thing, which I think, some people might be slightly put off, but I personally really, really like that buttery, thick diacetyl, slight sulphury note in a whiskey. It's got sticky molasses. It's spicy as hell. It is incredibly full on. The finish, it's got more of those nutty sherry notes and a little bit of like a dry tannic thing right on the back end, which kind of really gets you coming back for more, which I think is why I really, really like this. But yeah, you really do have to sit down and enjoy it. You can't be knocking these back. I think it gets a little bit much after maybe more than one or two. But that is why this is my Friday night pour. And lastly, we have whiskey for a special occasion. Now, I've got a wonderful pair to show you. These are 2 Bunnahabhain Warehouse 9 hand fill exclusives, which I picked up from the distillery when I went to visit Islay, pretty much a year ago on the nose, actually. Warehouse 9 being, of course, like the special warehouse that you can go and visit when you visit Bunnahabhain, and you can do a tasting there in the warehouse. And these are 2 whiskies that I tried. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go in the warehouse because they were having some work done, and it was at a pretty rough time, like out, in very much the off season for Islay. I guess there was pretty much no one else there on the island, which was kind of cool, but I did unfortunately miss out. But I did get to try both of these, and they are both absolutely life-changingly delicious. We have the 2004 Manthania cask, and we have the 2009 wine cask finish. They are both bottled at cask strength, so 55% and above. They are both unchill filtered. They are both natural colour, and I can promise you they are both exceptional. I have not opened either of these. They're both very special to me. It was kind of a trip for me and my partner Fran. We're getting married in May of next year, and both of these bottles are coming with me, and I think these are the whiskies I'm going to be enjoying with my best friends when I am a married man. The first whiskies I drink as a married man are going to be these 2. Bunnahabhain is one of the first distilleries that I kind of really identified as being a distillery that I enjoy, especially like the Bunnahabhain 12 being like one of my all-time favourite whiskies to go to. It was just picked to the post by the Brook Laddie this time, but You know, if you'd asked me 3 months ago, it probably could have been the other way around. So that was my Whiskey 5 challenge. I actually really enjoyed that. It was nice to visit some of these whiskies because some of these I haven't actually looked at in a long time. So, especially like the Bunnahabhains. So, yeah, really good fun. As for my nominations, I'm going to nominate Mac at Campfire Planet, because I'm sure he has got some incredible whiskies to choose. I'm going to nominate Phil at First Phil Whiskey. That guy's got some great taste, and he's got a pretty good collection there as well, so I'd be really interested to see what he picks. And of course, Andrew at Prestige Liquids, because that guy's a legend, and I'd be really interested to see his video. But anyway, that's enough from me. Thank you all very much for watching. If you've liked this video, please do click the like button down below, and if you'd like to support the channel, please do consider subscribing. Let me know down in the comments what your top 5 favourite whiskies are, or if you think any of these are wrong, I'd be keen to see what you would choose instead. And on that note, Slanjava.